Hello everyone, Scott Sylvan Bell coming to you live from Sacramento, California. It's March 30th, 2016, 11 o'clock in the morning. Perfect day to talk about sales training. And I want to ask you a super important question. Who is your biggest enemy in sales? Who's your biggest enemy in sales? And before you answer, think about this. Okay? Your biggest enemy in sales is going to talk down to you. They're going to say you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, your presentation isn't good enough. Your biggest enemy in sales is going to say your presentation isn't good, that you don't know what you're doing, that you don't know how to close, that you don't know how to ask questions of the buyer. The biggest enemy you have in sales is going to build doubt, fear, scarcity, anxiety, and a whole bunch of other words that end with Y, and cause a lot of problems for you. Now, my question for you is, who is your biggest enemy in sales? Who is it? That would be you, silly, right? I got my mirror right here. I'm looking at the mirror. I'm looking at me. You are your biggest enemy when it comes to sales. Not the guy down the street, not the other guy in the office, not the other people that you work with, not the person across the country. You are your biggest enemy in sales. And the reason that is because you build self-doubt, you ask all sorts of questions, even when you're prepared, even when you are the best. You got that little devil sitting, right? It's probably a big devil. You got that big devil sitting on your shoulder talking trash. And you know the thing is you pay attention and you listen, and you really shouldn't. Because it's hurting your sales, it's hurting your process, and it's stopping you from asking questions that you should. It's stopping you from giving the presentation that you can, and it's stopping you from closing all the deals that you should be able to close. And you're like, but Scott, how do I shut that devil up? Okay? So part of it is to not buy into it. Part of it is to know, look, I've prepared. I've done everything that I can. You can't outwork me. You can only underbid me. So go through and talk to yourself and tell yourself why, all the reasons why somebody is not better than you and why you are the best. And you know what? There's going to be times where you get kicked around by a buyer. There's going to be times where you end up losing deals, right? Nobody's 100% closer. But the thing is to constantly be working on yourself and figuring out how you're going to get better and to shut that monster down from telling you you're not good enough. Because you know what? You are good enough. And I'm going to tell you the reason I know that is you're sitting here and you're watching a video and you're working on yourself to become better. There's plenty of people in your business, in your industry, who take zero time to work on themselves and get better. The industry statistics for sales says the average person is going to pay $20 on their own training per year and spend less than an hour on themselves without being told to do it. Now think about that. If you sit around and you watch videos on YouTube for an hour and you take really good notes and you implement what you learn, chances are good within a couple of weeks you're going to start closing some more deals. Chances are really good within a year, if you're getting really good advice, that you're going to be closing more deals at an exponential rate, okay? So here's the thing, the biggest critic that you're ever going to face in sales, take your finger and just point it at yourself, right? I am the biggest enemy for myself when it comes to sales. You are the biggest enemy for yourself when it comes to sales. And the reason that you need to admit that is that it's the first step in figuring out, hey, what do I got to do to get better, to shut that critic up and to say, you know what, I am good enough. I am good enough. So for me, every Sunday night I watch a motivational movie, right? No matter what's going on in my life, whether I'm on top, whether I'm in the middle, or whether something's just falling apart, I always watch an inspirational movie. Right? And if something's like sideways, I watch an inspirational movie and I start looking at my goals. Hey, look, I can do this. I can compete. And it doesn't always make things like instantly better, but it reminds me, hey, look, you know what? There's a ton of adversity and most people are going to give up. Most people are going to let that devil or that critic talk to them on the shoulder and shut them down. Your job is to make it stop, okay? You are your own worst enemy. I'm my own worst enemy. Take that finger, point it at yourself, right? I'm pointing it at me, right? There you go. Okay, now if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story about you being your own worst enemy, and take your mirror out, look at yourself. To the right or to the left, there's a subscribe button. You know what you got to do. You got to subscribe. And then you can send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Come on, you know what you got to do. Why not even LinkedIn? Scott Sylvan Bell. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.